Hey guys, welcome back to the Designer Future podcast. I have a very special guest on today. Veena, go ahead and introduce yourself for me.
Oh, hello. So I'm Veena. I was like, oh, that was so quick. I'm Veena, as Olley said. I'm a video coach. I'm a mum. Do you know what? I hate when people say,
I love that you've said that straight away. It's not like I'm this, I'm that. Like mum is like straight up in the forefront. I like that.
I think because we are in this crazy time in the world at the moment, so my son is constantly with me. So sometimes I don't, mention at the forefront I'm a mum, but because I can literally, you can't see the mess. If I was to turn my camera around, there's just Lego everywhere. This is my little corner here in the room. Made a nice little photo for you, Olley. Yeah, I don't know. When people ask me to introduce yourself, it's I'm going through this stage at the moment of I've had a niche for a while, which was a YouTube coach, and now I'm thinking, do you know what? I do so many different things, but you don't want to overcomplicate it, do you? When someone says, "Who are you?" You don't want to say, "Oh, I do this, I do that, I do X, Y, and Z." So, for the purpose of today, I'm a video coach and I'm a mum. There we go.
Wicked, yeah, and that's something I always struggle with because, like you said, once you do get into this space, you do like fall into all of these different things. Are you a YouTube creator? Are you a social media manager? You don't really know where you're sort of at. Wicked, cool. So obviously, a YouTube coach. You are the first person I've had on here that would obviously classify themselves as a YouTube coach. So just for the people watching and listening, what does a YouTube coach consist of for you?
So, in all honesty, is something I just made up because I originally I just made it up. I used to work in the media industry. We're going a bit backwards here, but used to work in the media industry. Then I had my son when I was quite young, so I was 21 when I fell pregnant with him, and I was a single mum basically from the get-go, and being a single mum and raising my child at the same time and trying to, have this career in the media where it's really long hours was just not working. So I had to go and get this receptionist job after about being 10 years in the media industry. And I did that for about 2.5 years. I don't know if you've ever had this, Olley, where you've got a job and you're literally like crying inside every day. You go to that job and I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this. So that's what it was like. And then I quit, but with no plan. And I just kind of fell into filming. So I started off my business filming for corporate businesses and restaurants, just filming like promotional videos for them. And slowly it just turned into what I'm doing today. And it's kind of like training and coaching small business owners to get visible online.
Wicked, cool. So just like you said, starting from the back, what was the media company you was at before? Not necessarily the media company, but what was you sort of responsible for doing?
I was a radio presenter. So I used to work I got brought up in Oxford, and it was like a regional radio station there. Moved to London, did some radio here, did some stuff with BBC Essex as well, did little bits of TV, just a really kind of mishmash of stuff in the media, but mainly being a radio presenter. So that's how I kind of started my career.
Amazing, cool. So before I get on to the more like technical questions, when it comes to you being a YouTube coach, what does your ideal client sort of look like? Who are the people that you're actively looking to work with?
So I think with all of us, when you kind of start something, you have an idea of your kind of avatar, your ideal person. And then for me anyway, it kind of drifted into this other person, which I never imagined. So even though, I kind of brand myself as a video or YouTube coach, if you kind of strip all of that away, the people I'm actually helping is the people that really suffer with low self-esteem. They're not confident, but they've got an amazing business or an amazing brand. They just need somebody's help to get them to do stuff like this. Because for a lot of people, they'll be really scared to come on a podcast, even as a guest. When you come on as a guest, it's not really pressure. We're just chatting. Yeah. But for a lot of people, they would really struggle with this. So that's kind of my little niche within the niche, is really about boosting someone's confidence to actually even make a video in the first place.
Wicked, yeah, cool. And that's actually a very interesting topic, because I've spoke to people that run like 6-figure, 7-figure agencies and online businesses, but for them to come on something like this, they just really wouldn't feel comfortable with doing so.
Yeah.
Me personally, I think personal branding is up there with the, you know, the best attribute that you can have within your business, to be able to put your face in front of people and not just your business's name. I think personally is key, essentially, right? With that being said, obviously you've transitioned from like your 9-to-5 job into being your own boss. What sort of motivated you to take that jump?
It was like I said before, like I hated that receptionist job, and I just thought, do you know what, I'm actually wasting my life, because I built up I started in the media industry when I was really young. I was 16, and I was on air, I think, when I just turned maybe 17.
Oh.
And to have built up kind of all those skills in presenting and interviewing celebrities and all the other stuff that goes into being a radio presenter, when I was at that kind of desk job, which I was a receptionist in a corporate company, where, you know, some people unfortunately are not very nice and they just ignore you. So I just thought, do you know what, there's more to life than this. That was a really big motivation for me, just really thinking, do you know what, there's more to life than what I'm currently doing. And also it's about being like a role model to my son. I didn't want him to grow up thinking, do you know what, my mum had all these dreams and she never even tried to accomplish them. So it's kind of those are the two. And do you know what, I have so many motivators in my life. It's my parents as well. Like, my parents came from this tiny little island called Mauritius, came over to the UK, and yeah, it's that story of, you know, they came here with literally nothing. They didn't know anyone, they had no family here. So I do a lot of things to just try and help them out as well.
That's amazing. Cool. Wicked. So with that being said as well, just as a little extension, obviously going from working a 9-to-5, becoming your own boss, obviously having that freedom financially, and, you know, not having to go into a job that you hate every day. What's sort of motivating you now? Because you've already achieved that sort of freedom, you know, you're obviously looking to grow it every single day. So what sort of motivates you, and what sort of steps are you now taking to increase that?
Do you know what? Now it's kind of turned into more about finding true happiness. So every time I do something, is this making me happy? Because I think so many of us not so many of us, all of us, since the day we're born, we're fed all these kind of ideals about society and how things should be. And ever since I was little, I always questioned that. I thought, is this right? Like, should we be at school every day? Should we have a 9-to-5? So, you know, for me, it's about kind of finding that purpose and happiness every day. And it's even questioning that thing about growth. Like, do we actually have to grow in terms of money-wise? Do we have to be growing money-wise every single year? I would rather make the same amount of money this year and like increase my happiness levels next year, rather than measuring it by wealth and how much money is in my bank account.
Amazing. Yeah. I think that's so worthy for you to say as well, because so many people are driven by these numbers, but it's also like, okay, but when you get those numbers, are you actually going to be happy? Because you're not, right? Yeah. So it's just literally going to be, and as well, when you do set those goals, obviously me and you being in this space, you've been known to, you know, set goals, you know, you want to achieve X amount per month. But once you get there, you know, you're not finished, right? You have to reassess and do that again. And like you said, the happiness level is, well, it should be the front of all of those decisions. So the next thing I really like to go into, these will be like a quick fire round.
I'm quickly going to say something about what you just said then about hitting those numbers, even in terms of like, obviously YouTube. When I say to clients or people that are subscribed to my channel, everyone's like, oh, you know, I need to get to 5,000 subscribers. And I just remind everyone, when you get to 5,000 subscribers, nothing happens.
10,000. Yeah.
Like, no one's there like going, whoa, it's that's it. I mean, of course it's exciting to have these milestones, but it's nothing in your life drastically changes by getting a few extra subscribers as well. So I'm glad you kind of brought that point in as well, about when you reach something, it doesn't necessarily be moving.
Definitely. And I think that is very important as well. It's like even my YouTube, for example, just to break down some barriers for the people watching and listening is, when it comes to subscribers, followers, and, all of this stuff, like when push comes to shove, they are vanity metrics. I much would prefer 10 subscribers and each of those 10 subscribers are active and they're actually impacted by the content that I'm producing, rather than 100,000 followers and you get one person say, "Oh, good video." So no, I definitely think that makes sense. So yeah, the quick fire sort of questions I like to ask are: if I was to pull 3 apps out of your day to day, what would they be that you'd really struggle with when it comes to running your online business?
Oh, well, definitely YouTube.
Well,
Definitely YouTube. I've got the YouTube Studio app on my phone, and that's really good because I can comment whenever someone comments. I don't have to go into my kind of desktop. I can just do it all from my phone. So probably the YouTube one. In terms of struggling, to be honest, as long as I've got my YouTube app,
yeah.
I am good. I'm really bad at emails. I'm really bad at, other things as well. But yeah, I think just the YouTube one. I am getting really obsessed with TikTok at the moment, though.
I've seen some of the TikToks. Yeah, I've seen.
I love that so much.
No, that's really cool as well, because I always love to ask that question, especially with people that come on and they're, like you said, they're in different niches, they run different businesses. So the fact that you've come on and said you're a YouTube coach, and it's like, yeah, all I need is the YouTube app. That's great, because also I think so many people do love to overcomplicate stuff. They'll look for, like, obviously you've got like TubeBuddy and all stuff like that, all valid tools, but it's like, okay, you can use all of those tools, but if you're missing the fundamentals of creating the searchable content and making them good, then TubeBuddy, vidIQ, all of that doesn't really even matter. So that's really good. Let me paint like a little picture. Imagine someone's jumped onto this video, they've typed in how to make money online or how to make money on YouTube, for example.
Yeah.
What would be your number one resource, whether it's a book that was more so like the mindset that made you sort of jump into YouTube, or some sort of resource when it comes to YouTube training that you would suggest? Anything, that's helped you almost like study what niche you're in?
Do you know what? There's not a specific book or course, but what I would say is just YouTube as a whole is do your research before you launch a channel.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, you've got to see it from the point of view of an actual watcher and consumer. And that's what I did, is about researching, because the more research you can do, you can find these little niches. And if you don't get out your comfort zone and try that niche out that you found. I'll give a really relevant example. So a few months ago, when all this stuff was happening with Harry and Meghan, and I was looking at this whole situation and I was thinking, do you know what? This is a bit unfair of the media. They're only covering it in one certain way. So I thought, do you know what? I'm going to start a podcast. It's only going to be one season. I'm going to get guests on, and I'm just going to do everything literally in about 2 days, launch the YouTube channel and record like what we're doing now on Zoom, just doing all the interviews on Zoom within a day, 2 days. And because it was a really relevant, trending topic, I got so much juice. I think up to 30,000 views within a few months, 400 and something subscribers. And I mean, I never did it for that reason, but when I put it on YouTube, I was like, oh my God, like this is really taking off, like from the first episode. So it's really about paying attention and doing your own research and finding those niches that aren't being served on YouTube. And there's loads of them out there.
Definitely. And sorry, just to drop something in there as well, because of a recent video of mine, is like you said, it's jumping on those sort of trends, but also keeping within your niche. So it's like, you don't just want to go make videos about anything and everything, but being the master of your niche, of course, means doing your research on a day-to-day basis, seeing what's trending within your niche. And a good example of that is, I run a social media agency. So we're creating content for clients and stuff like that. So with that being said, you do become almost like a figure of authority as well. So I had someone reach out to me and say, oh, like I've seen your podcasts We have a physical podcast. We rent out a studio. We get people in for guests, blah, blah, blah. And then obviously all this COVID-19 stuff happened. And I recorded a video, how to make a podcast using only Zoom. And because of what's going on right now, obviously the people that are searching for how to record a podcast on Zoom, literally I only uploaded the video a month ago or 3 weeks ago. And it's become, you know, the most viewed video on my channel. So it is also just keeping your eyes and your ears open for that sort of stuff within your niche, because it's not necessarily something I might have made a video on before. I use it every single day. I use it for my podcast, but and until someone actually reached out and asked me, and I looked and I said, okay, people are going to be searching for Zoom, that you then make that content. So no, that's great.
Well, we're the same. So it's on my YouTube channel, again, it's predominantly YouTube tips, and you know, I do various other social media tutorials, but again, when this happened, I thought, hold on for a second, people are going to be at home, so I just made a Zoom tutorial, just literally how to use it. And again, it's getting so much juice at the moment, and obviously it bumps up all the other videos on your channel as well. So definitely go some more Zoom tutorials, because people really need them right now.
Definitely. And I think it also sparks, you know, I've had leads come through that video and ask me to create the podcast for them in terms of editing, publishing it. And we actually launched one 4 weeks ago, and it's absolutely ruined my channel in terms of it's smashed the watch time already, and they're on like 800 subscribers. So they're soon to be monetized, and that's only within 4 weeks. And also, with that being said, before we jump onto that, he interviewed someone who is already within that space. They run like a football podcast as well. So he done a good thing in terms of getting the guy that's already got a podcast on, and he had that traffic from the get-go. So that's one thing to consider as well, is thinking of those sort of partnerships as well. Okay, so a question I'd like to ask, and this might be a bit all over the place for you, but it's, do you use ClickFunnels?
Oh my God. So I've had this hate relationship with ClickFunnels for about, I don't know when it launched, but maybe the last 3 or 4 years. I did a free trial about 4 times, hated it. I was like, this is so complicated. Yeah. And then with the last few months, I love it so much now. I find it so easy. I'm even in the process of kind of making my website just using ClickFunnels now, because I love it so much, but I hated it for years.
Crazy, that's crazy. So for someone watching this, what sort of stuff do you use it for?
So I run webinars. So when you sign up to one of my webinars, that's a ClickFunnels page. I'm starting to transfer some of my courses over to ClickFunnels as well and use it for that. So most things that you now see from me, it will be using ClickFunnels, because I just find it so easy. And just even if you want to change, like, I can just go into it now, and if I want to, something's happened in the world and I want to change it, I just change it straight away. So yeah, I'm migrating a lot of my current pages onto ClickFunnels now.
Amazing, cool, perfect. So I mean, you sort of touched on this a little bit beforehand, but it would also be good for me to ask in terms of like the YouTube stuff. Do you use cold emails at all? I know you said you're not really good with emails, but do you use cold emails at all?
No. I've got obviously my people that sign up for my trainings and webinars, I've got their email addresses, and I'm also very bad at emailing them. I'm on a mission to at least email them once a week, but that is the only thing. I don't know. I'm not a fan of cold emailing at all. Anyone that emails me that's cold and they don't even write my name, I just delete it. Yeah. I don't even look at it, because I think at least have the decency to see who you're emailing. So that's my personal opinion. I don't do it.
That's great. And for me to like flip the script on like a YouTube perspective as well, because I know you've obviously been able to have like partnerships with brands and stuff like that. How did that sort of stuff come about? You know, are you reaching out to them? Are they reaching out to you? And just highlight as well some of the people you've worked with, just as a bit of inspiration for someone watching.
I actually recently had TubeBuddy reach out to me, so they've put me on their kind of partnership program at the moment, and we're actually working through, I don't know when this is going out, but we're working through some kind of partnership there at the moment. And to be honest with me, I will get a lot of companies coming to me and wanting me to review product. I get sent like microphones and stuff like that. And I think when you first are getting into this world of social media, it's really tempting to be like, oh my God, I'm going to take this product, and because they're sending it to me for free, and just do a review on it. Yeah. So now when I get contacted, I'm like, thank you so much for contacting me, but I'm not gonna use that specific product. And I even though it is a bit hurtful, I'm like, oh, I could have got a free product there. But I really think about the long term, because if you, I don't know, I haven't got my microphone here, but you know, if I do accept a microphone from someone, I want to make sure I'm going to recommend that to my clients or subscribers in the future as well. So it's not, I'm not looking at things as a short-term one video partnership. I want it to be, I'm always going to recommend it, maybe make some affiliate income from that product in the future. So I'm always really conscious about that aspect. So I haven't really done, I don't think, that many partnership deals, to be honest with you. I'll get people reaching out to me, but I am very, it's not necessarily picky. You have to be strategic. You don't want to spend all this time, and you know what it's like, Olley, you spend so much time filming and editing content for you then to put out a video and it doesn't match anything on your channel at all. So
definitely. And I think as well, like, I think it also goes back to the whole like vanity numbers and stuff like that. One thing I will say is, if you are a creator and you're not like got insane amount of followers and stuff like that, you're probably going to be the person that, like Veena said, if someone does reach out to you, you're going to be like, yes, I'll do that. But like, think of it like Veena said, it's a long game. Like, you don't just want to accept someone because they're the only people that are willing to work with you at that moment in time. Think about your brand in the long term thing of it. Even if it's a personal brand, not necessarily like a business, a personal brand. If you're recommending products that you don't actually use or you don't think are good, it's seriously going to damage you in the long run. And also, sorry, one thing I wanted to jump on with that as well is, like, when we're talking about cold emails as well, I'm not saying to just go cold email, 100 different companies and stuff like that. Me personally, it's like, if I want to work with someone, then they'll be the only person I'm emailing.
In my head, when you asked that question, I thought you meant cold email as in you buy like emails.
Oh, no.
No, so let me flip. Now I've heard, okay, no, I am a big fan of reaching.
Love it. Oh, right.
That I was like, no, Olley, we don't do things like that. No, so oh my God, that is how I've managed to interview like celebrities and millionaires and billionaires, is because you reach out to them cold.
Give us the sauce.
Now I understand your question.
Give us the sauce. Yeah. So what does that sort of process look like you? Because I'm the same. It's like, just to put something in context before Veena goes on to the discussion, it's like everyone that I've ever interviewed on this show, for example, are people that I'm inspired or motivated by, or I've simply come across their content and I love their content, and they're someone that I think this audience is going to be, they're going to be impacted in a right way from that person. So me, like, I would then email that person. I'm then not going to say, okay, who's like that person? And, let's just send 100 emails and hope that one of those gets back to you. If you want to work with that person, then act like you want to work with that person. It might take you having to email them every single day before they even know who you are. But like I said, it's a quality over quantity.
And definitely what Olley said is, like, be relentless with that. If you want to interview someone, you've got to look, for me, I don't have a massive following, and I'm not getting like, thousands of emails every day, but because I'm so bad at I hate logging into my emails. I just find that a task that I just don't want to do. So I will leave that. Sometimes I don't check my emails for a few days. So, but just think of it like that. Think of it in terms of, do you know what? They might have not seen my email. They might not be on a specific social network. So it's always best to send that person an email, tweet them. Olley, I mean, for him, he Instagrammed, DM'd me, write a comment on someone's YouTube video. It's trying to find all, because they're not ignoring you. You just have to get them at the right time.
Just to jump in as well, like we're drop Veena in it a little bit. Like I've messaged her a couple of times, and people are busy. It doesn't mean that she didn't want to come on. It's the fact that she's on here right now. It didn't mean that she didn't want to come on. It's, you know, people are busy. If you're reaching out to business owners, for example, if you're offering a service, just because they haven't replied to your email or your message or, you know, your voicemail you've left them, that doesn't mean that they don't necessarily want to work for you. It just might mean that they're not looking into those things at this moment in time.
And this is a prime example, because Olley messaged me, and I think I saw it, and then I thought, oh, I need to get back to this guy. I'll remember. But then obviously I forgot because I had a million and one of the things. But then I think Olley messaged me again, and then I even said to Olley, I went, Olley, if I don't message you within a week, just message me again. So I think so many people get disheartened because they email somebody once and they'll be like, oh, that person never emailed me back. And I'm like, number one, they may have never seen your email. Number two, they might have had 1,000 emails that day, which is, you know, that happens to some people. They get so many emails. So it's just about, if you really want to interview someone, reach out to them on all their social medias. I've had the most success with LinkedIn. When I message people on LinkedIn, I found that to be a good, I don't know, more of probably a success rate than actually emailing them.
Okay, wicked. That's interesting to know. Perfect. So with, you know, about 10 minutes left, I'd really want to deep dive into the YouTube side of things. Like I said, everyone we've had on before is sort of like online business owners. I know obviously you do run an online business as well, but I really think people will get some value with the whole YouTube stuff as well. So what would be your tips for someone that is obviously starting a new YouTube channel, or they're even just sort of considering getting onto YouTube? And of course, guys, like, we'll link Veena's channel below as well. I know she's got some amazing content on this exact topic as well.
I would say is, if you've never done a video before, you need to get over that fear first, because again, with all the clients I've worked with, everyone asks the same question when they want to start a YouTube channel, and it's, how do I get subscribers? And I look at them and I say, you haven't started your YouTube channel yet. So you know, people are running, and again, it's that whole thing of chasing the numbers. You don't need 1,000 subscribers to make money and have a profitable business. Like Olley said this before, you could have 100 people subscribe to your channel. Those 100 people are coming back week after week, and you've got yourself a business. You've got yourself a fan base, and your business will spread by word of mouth then. So I would say it's, you know, don't focus. And I know all of us at some point will fall into that trap. I mean, I did it the other day, and I never do it, but I think I uploaded a TikTok and I was like, oh my God, this only got 5 views. What's going on? And I was like, there's something wrong with TikTok. And then I was like, Veena, chill out. Like, it's TikTok. Like, who cares? You made your video. You've done what you wanted to do. Like, move on with your life. So I would say, when you're starting, it's all about practicing video, because this is a skill. I mean, it looks easy to come on camera and just talk, but it's a skill about where you're looking. Have you got the background? Is there good lighting? Even the tone of your voice. Are you varying your tone? Are you kind of going low sometimes? Are you pausing for, you know, people call that pattern interrupt. Are you doing a pattern interrupt when you're presenting your YouTube videos? There's a whole bulk you need to learn about presenting and camera presence before you can even move on to kind of, how do I get more subscribers? But I would say my biggest tip, along with kind of practicing being on camera, is create searchable content. When you're starting, if you do want to get more juice to your channel faster, it is about creating that searchable content, which both me and Olley have done. You know, with the example of Zoom, we saw what was trending in the world, which was everything that's going on at the moment, and we're creating content to feed that trend. Because I think when a lot of people talk about trends, they think, oh, a trend is like a dance, or a trending something else, but a trend could be something that's actually happening in the world right now.
Definitely. Cool. The last question I'd like to go on, and this will be very interesting for yourself, and it's around teams and outsourcing.
Okay.
So, you know, obviously, like I mentioned before, a lot of people that we had on are running online businesses, and they might need to delegate certain tasks. as a YouTube coach, what sort of stuff, even, you know, you might not even outsource anything. So yeah, I just want to get like an overview of, is there anything you outsource? You know, are you looking to build a team moving forward? What does that sort of look like at the moment?
So about 2 years ago, I had a virtual assistant, and I had her for about a year, and she was doing all my kind of transcripts for my, I also run a podcast. So she was doing all my transcripts for my podcast. She was kind of doing all the social medias to that. And then after about a year, I thought, this isn't really making much of a difference in my business. I'm kind of spending that money and it's not giving me that juice I needed. And it wasn't, I don't know, I don't know how many things you outsource, Olley, but when you outsource, it's all about, are they making that difference that you need them to make, or even taking away those mundane tasks for you to go and do something else. And as technology's been evolving, I didn't actually need my VA, because I transferred my podcast hosting to somewhere else, which makes it so easy. I didn't need the transcripts. There was a lot of stuff I didn't need, and I thought, oh, I don't need a VA anymore. Having said that, I think once my son is in secondary school and I do want to expand what I'm doing, then I know I would need the help. But right now, because I'm kind of still, you know, in that mode of, I've got to leave the house at 3 o'clock, go on the school run, then I'm not doing any work. It's, yeah, I'm just going at a kind of a really, it's not even a slow pace, but just my pace that I want to go at the moment. But I think definitely in the future, I would love to maybe have two VAs or 2 assistants that are really helping me pump out more YouTube content, especially.
Amazing, cool. So that's pretty much all of the questions I've sort of jumped onto. One thing I would like to go back to, if it's okay with you, is really deep diving into that searchable content discussion we was having. What does that sort of look like for you? I know you said you do a lot of market research and stuff like that. If you was to sort of narrow it down into like 5 key steps, what does that sort of look like for you, from, you know, market research, planning the video, filming the video, distributing the video?
So again, I think people spend a lot of time filming the video, which we all want to do. We all want to make our videos look nice, but the majority of your time should be spent on that research and what title you should call it. You should have an image in your head of the thumbnail for your video as well, because when people are going on YouTube, they're not just searching for me. They don't care about me. They care about what value I'm going to be offering them. So you've really got to think carefully about the title of your video and also the thumbnail. They have to be 2 different things, because if someone reads the title of your video and they're like, oh, I don't really, that's not that interesting. But if you've then got another chance to catch them and make them click on your video through the thumbnail. So you always have to make sure the image of your video has different text on it to the actual title of your video. And again, that all comes into the thing of searchable content. Then what are people searching for on YouTube? They're not searching for vlog number 1. That's a pointless title for your video. You need to be calling it, I don't know, maybe you gave top tips on how to be a VA, so call it the 7 top tips on becoming a VA in the UK, or whatever it is. So you've got to just really do that. That's the thing I would stress the most, is you've got to put that work in. And then, you know, it's kind of like adopt a broader strategy. So I teach something called the triple S formula, which is subscriber content, supernova content, and searchable content. So we've covered the searchable content. The next content I do is subscriber content. So it's, what videos do my subscribers want? So I might not be hitting search terms, but what comments do I keep getting on my videos? And it's creating that content for my subscribers. And then supernova content is the kind of content that takes me longer to do. So it might be an interview with someone. It might be, I don't know, me just being a bit more creative editing wise. So it's getting a really good mix of content on your YouTube channel as well.
Amazing. Yeah, I think as well, like, that's one thing that I sort of struggled with when it comes to YouTube, is till probably the end of last year, like I solely used YouTube as a place to document my life. That is, that's essentially why I created it in the first place. And if you look back on my older videos, like you said, it's nowhere near searchable content. It's all vlogs, and there's no value sort of within any of the videos, right? But over time, I've obviously thought that, I actually do want to grow this YouTube channel. I don't just want to have it as like obviously me still to this day. That's also why I still create like the vlog sort of stuff, and just the travel stuff, just documenting my life. It's like what you said as well. Like, you need to have that balance, I think personally, of like, you've still got to want to do it every day as well. So yes, you need to create searchable content, but that doesn't mean start creating searchable content about stuff you're not interested in, because it will shine through.
Exactly. And I think there's definitely a place for vlogs as well, because people want to feel connected. Because sometimes, again, with majority of my content, it might be stuff like this, where I'm sat here, I'm like, oh, today I'm going to teach you the 7 top tips to do X, Y, and Z. Sometimes it doesn't necessarily show certain other aspects of my life.
Other things as well, yeah.
Exactly. And you've always got to feel, this is what social media is about. You have to feel connected with the person. So, sometimes I'll mention something my son has done, or I'll mention about being a single mom, or I don't know, about how my parents, are Mauritian and all the rest of it. 'Cause you're connecting with people through different stories. I'm not just going to be sat teaching someone about Zoom, or sometimes, add in a little something. It might be literally a quick sentence, but then people relate to that one thing that you've said in it as well.
Definitely. And as like an extension of that, it's also like what Veena was saying about the market research side of things. You can look at what other people have done, what's worked for other people. And, they say, like, look at what's worked, look at what's worked for these people, and then incorporate that. So you can literally go on, filter it by their most viewed video, see what their most viewed video is, think, okay, cool, I could create a video like that. You're not copying their video, because they've more than likely done the same thing as well, by the way. But even if you're delivering the same information, or you think, okay, so he didn't go into that on like a good detail, or there's something that I know that I could put in there instead, or there's an extra tip within that segment. But also, it's, you could deliver the exact same information, but it's also how you deliver it as your personality shines through it as well. So I definitely appreciate that. Just finishing it up, let's sort of go over, I know we've briefly said about, what motivates you to move forward, but if we was to get on another podcast a year from today, where would you like Veena to be?
Oh, let me think about this. I don't know. Where would I like? Do you know what? I would definitely like to be more consistent in my YouTube channel myself. I always tell people to be consistent, but I always be like, do you know what, guys? I'm telling you to be consistent, but I'm trying to be. So this time next year, I think I will see much more growth. And I've got multiple YouTube channels as well. So I would like to be consistent on all my channels, and maybe you should hold me to that, Olley. If you message me in a year's time and say, Veena, have you been consistent with your channels? Do you know what? That would probably be the main priority for me right now. And also, away from kind of business, is just to be more, just take some more time for myself, like do reading 30 minutes a day. I'm so bad at like reading books and doing things like that. So even if it's just reading, making notes, I'm getting into so many other kind of areas at the moment, especially in terms of mindset. So it'll be more kind of, just being a really kind of different journey when it comes to that as well.
Amazing. So, and just to plug one more little thing, what does consistent look like for you on your channel?
In an ideal world, consistency would be a video every day. That's what I would love to do. But realistically, consistency for me would probably be about 3 videos a week on my YouTube channels, and on my other ones, maybe once a week. So that's what consistency would look like for me. But not just consistency in terms of upload schedule. it's consistency in terms of the messaging. And I think that's a key thing that people miss out. It's not just being consistent in terms of your schedule, it's being consistent in terms of how are you maybe starting a video, how are you ending it, do you have any kind of taglines or struck lines that you say in a video as well, and it's having that consistent quality of content as well, rather than just banging up a video just for the sake of it.
Okay, cool, perfect. Well, I do hope we speak again in a year's time. We sort of check that off. I will be watching. But yeah, thank you very much for coming on, guys. If you do want to check out Veena, her link will be the first one in the description below. Like she said, she also has a podcast as well, so definitely go and support her over there. And yeah, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Take care, guys, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Hollywood 6.